Not that long ago I saw some weird movies. Here's some more weird movies. Which one is weird you think? Let me know in the comments. You know what's weird too? About 12,093% of viewers are not subscribed to the channel. And there's way too little women in my demographic, so that needs to be fixed too. Can't have a sausage fest here, can we? Anyways, weird films. Crimes of the Future is the new David Cronenberg movie that was said to have people run out of the cinema when it was first shown to the world. Stuff like this gets said often, and usually it ends up being something mundane. Movies like Antichrist or The House That Jack Built, for example, all controversial. All made people vomit and leave in anger and consternation. Crimes of the Future tells the story of a future where mankind is evolving into something else. In fact, into many things. Due to having lived so long under technology and pollution, body modification has gone awry and people are mutilating and changing themselves for fun or to feel anything at all. Pain receptors changed. Food ingestion. Plenty more strange stuff. An artist couple, played by Viggo Mortensen and Lee Seydoux, make performance art where the one creates new body parts and the other cuts them off. It's semi-sexual and erotic. It's weird. It's Cronenberg. Viggo clearly has problems with his new body as he has difficulty swallowing and talking. He's like a leper in a dark and depressing world. Plenty of other stuff happens, but I won't spoil too much cause quite frankly, there's not much to say about this movie. A world is set up. Stuff happens, there's some mystery, there's a plot, and then it pretty much ends. There's some resolution, but it's not enough. It feels like the first part of a trilogy. I don't get why people would leave, but I will just come to the conclusion that they are pansies that haven't watched a lot of movies. I've seen much worse. Also from Cronenberg, and this is pretty tame and lame in comparison. Kristen Stewart might be the worst actress in the film, even though I usually don't have a problem with her. The way she portrays the medical assistant just feels wrong. Viggo's gagging ain't all that either, in my humble opinion. What's left is very simple body horror that film fans have already seen done better plenty of times. If you want something similar, watch Naked Lunch instead, and then check this out to see the difference in content. Check that. Men, they suck. No one needs them. We would prefer that they are all just gone. At least that's what many females and not so females are saying these days. Poppycock, I say, with the emphasis on cock. Men are awesome, at least for the most part. I'm a man too, you know. At least I think I am. Maybe I'm one of those fluid people. Who knows? Who cares? Anyways, in the 2022 Alex Garland movie Men, we follow a widowed woman who decides to go on a little holiday in an English village. On a leisurely day, she notices, however, that some strange naked man seems to be stalking her. She increasingly becomes more paranoid and unstable, seeing the same face over and over again in every male character in the town. Men is one of those horror movies that leans heavily on the creepypasta vibe. Rory Kinnear plays pretty much every male character in the movie. From old priest to young boy, it's all Rory. Having a grown man's face on a child's body already is weird, but things get even more weird when the naked stalker starts to grow. Well, let's just keep it at stuff from his body. The movie clearly sends a message, but, and this is where I disagree with the knee-jerk reviewers out there, this movie is not anti-male, or at least I didn't think so. In fact, I found the main female character usually repulsive as all the toxic males depicted in the film. At the end you'll have stuff to think about. But the gist of it, as always, is we're all human. All too human, except me. I'm a robot. At least I think I am. Maybe I'm one of those fluid human robot things. Androids. Who knows? Who cares? Go watch Men. Smash that. The Amusement Park was a forgotten and lost movie by the legendary George Romero, which was created in 1975, then discovered, cleaned up and edited a little bit to be released in the year of our Lord 2021. The master of horror brings you the most terrifying thing any human can and will experience during his or her lifetime. Growing old. We find an older man bruised and broken sitting in a white waiting room. Another man, equally dressed in white, asks him why he isn't going outside. He is told that there is nothing for him out there and other strange talk. The second man ignores it, opens the door and enters the amusement park. A park that is much like life, where people can do things based on their skills, age, wealth or health status. If you don't fit the rules, you cannot participate. This and many dreadful things await our protagonist as he tries to have fun in this park but meets problem after problem, eventually stumbling into desperation and more. The amusement park is of course an analogy of life, and specifically what life is like for people of a certain age. That age where you are deemed worthless and a strain on society. It's a hard watch because of the truth that lies behind it. A dark look into your own future or that of your friend, neighbor, family members. It's depressing but ends with a plea of the narrator to do better. A promising plea that, unfortunately, and especially in the 30 years that have passed since its creation, will probably fall upon deaf ears. Not your normal movie, definitely not your normal horror film, but certainly worth a watch. Smash That. Femme Fatales, also known as Calmos, which roughly translates as Calm Down or Calm, is a quaint movie from the mid-70s about two men. One is a gynecologist, the other a player. Both men are sick and tired of women and their wiles and decide to have a male-only vacation in the south of France. They are living the life: good food, good drink, fun and games, peace and quiet, until, a fateful evening, their disgruntled wives return demanding attention and sex. They appease their wives but quickly realize they need to be away, and with them thousands of men join, upon which, the world's female population becomes warriors like Amazons and starts hunting us, the men, down. Calmos is a product from the 70s which decades later gains so much more layers it becomes something amazing. In height of the sexual revolution where women burned through bras and the pill allowed them to get unfeathered sex, men were under heavy pressure to perform an almost unsatiably lust. This movie is a parody of that notion. In the 2020s, however, where many men are sick and tired of the dating, the pressure, the one-sided affections, where marriage is a prison or a financial and emotional death sentence, where people like Peterson and Tate talk about taking back manhood, often ridiculing the princess-like behavior of these self-professed queens. Calmos gains multiple levels and it's quite frankly amazing to see. It's humoristic, it has some titillation, but there's a lot to think about while watching the film, and I think, in a way, this movie shows exactly what many burned-out men think. The Amazon army of feminists hunting down men isn't that far off from reality either, though in this era it's not really about sex. Well, maybe it is. What do I know? I'm a robot and I get all he I want. I ain't no automaton they can just turn on and have their way with, at least. Smash That. Sgt.Kabukiman NYPD is an early 90s trauma film that brings us the backstory of the titular character who also appeared in the fourth Toxic Avenger film. We follow Detective Harry Griswold as he gets tasked to find the crooks that are behind a couple of murders in the kabuki scene. While attending one of the plays, he gets possessed by the kabuki spirit after being kissed by one of the victims. Slowly he turns from a clumsy cop into Sergeant Kabukiman, a slightly less clumsy American-Japanese superhero. As Kabukiman, he changes into typical kabuki attire and his special abilities such as heat-seeking chopsticks, fatal sushi and others. This is very much a trauma film, albeit less gory and less gooey than most of their films. In fact, this film might be one of its least disgusting. There's cheesy jokes, silly action, some nudity, a little blood and some good old exploitation. Despite its humorous plot, vibe and everything else, I found this film quite lacking. It's okay and fun while you watch it, as you are going through the waves of what they are trying to achieve, but by the end of it it's just mediocre film that's quickly forgotten. The kabuki character is okay, but it doesn't go far enough in my opinion. Pushing it a wee bit towards even more absurdity might have helped. More Japanese stuff besides the obvious. More hentai, more tentacles, more schoolgirls, more yakuza, just more glorious Japanese stuff. I guess 90s America wasn't saturated enough with Japanophiles to make this a true success. Check that. There are plenty of movies with the name Resurrection, and I personally think it's a stupid name for this film, but it is what it is. Resurrection is a 2022 psychological thriller about a company shrink, played by Rebecca Hall, who is doing her thing as a single mother when all of a sudden she sees a ghost from her past pop up who rekindles fear and anxiety in her mind and subsequently life. I can't say anything about whether or not this is all in her mind or what the causes of this drama is about, but I can say that this movie will take you on a trip and will go places. Her supposed antagonist is played by Tim Roth, who is always excellent in his slightly unhinged roles. The film plays with paranoia and the shift between reality and fiction quite well, though I would have wished that the supposed relationship between certain characters took a little bit longer to get revealed. Certain scenes really strike a nerve and you can't but get feelings of disgust and anger while watching it. For me it was mainly the actions of a certain character that are so against my own that I couldn't stand it. Thankfully, I watch movies to experience other people's reactions and emotions to things, so I went along, at least up to a point. Personally, and I'm not an expert, I think that certain events that happen in the movie would have had an even more severe impact on a person. I mean, it's dreadful, horrific even, and I don't quite believe experiencing that would leave you functioning for the rest of your life. You might be wondering, what the hell are you talking about, Robotron? Well, I can't say it out loud cause it'll spoil the film. Let's just say that if you enjoy psychological thrillers with a paranoid streak and a big nasty secret, that you should check this out. Tim Roth is excellent as always, and Rebecca Hall certainly has the chops to play the unhinged woman who slowly goes, or maybe already was, insane. Check that. Revealer sounds like a movie of a trench-coated exhibitionist running around the city showing off the goods in such a dramatic way it would make dramatic gopher seem like a noob. In reality, however, it's a movie about a sleazy stripper and a Christian protester who get stuck in a peep show, both while outside an unseen apocalypse is occurring. All this is drenched in the typical faux 80s neon look that was made so popular by Stranger Things, added with the awesome tunes of retro wave music that started the trend in the not-so-underground music scene. This movie has potential. It mixes the Lovecraftian vibe of color out of space with demons and devils, but nothing much happens in this film that is pretty memorable. There's a lot of bickering and talking, and to be honest, I can't be asked with the opposing stances of religion and atheism that of course ultimately reveal hypocrisy. As many modern movies, however, the ending leaves open an unmet potential for something more. Something that will probably never see the light of day. If only the creators of these films had the foresight to make the concepts they make at the end of the movie be part of the movie you just watched. That's a win-win, right? Good movie, great cliffhanger-like ending that asks for more. But alas, Revealer only reveals himself sparingly, and it's only at the end that you can see what is truly underneath that neon-drenched trench coat. Check that. After Blue was a movie I wasn't going to watch, cause I was looking for the 2022 version of After Blue. Mistakenly I watched the 2017 Mexican one. Luckily for me it's also weird, so I could put it on this list. It's so weird I can't even say what it's about. It's about some guy who is in some kind of criminal stuff who dies, but then he survives, or at least I think he does, and so he gets chased by other criminals while falling in love even though he has a woman. And there's fields of wheat both lie in, and everything is jumbled. Scenes follow up with other scenes that make no sense. Anyways, I have an idea what the film is about, but I didn't get that from the film itself. The synopsis says, are we transformed into energy once we are dead? Energy made visible when death stares at us up close, whereas Shill cites rotten tomatoes and some others say after an accident that led him into a coma, Forto returns with a reality interfered with by hallucinations. He listens to loneliness and sees women represent death to him. They are women. What the hell does that even mean? Also, do you mean death instead of death? They are women. Sure, okay, they are. Or are they? What is a woman anyways, am I right? Anyways, I think this movie had a lot to say, but it comes out as a jumbled mess that will leave you scratching your head. When the credits rolled, the fuck was that was spewed out of my sound? Oh, artsy fartsy shit needs to have some skill involved to be great, fellas. Throwing random things together is just throwing things together. Drop that. The 2022 movie After Blue, also called Dirty Paradise, is a neon-drenched surreal science fiction fantasy movie about a planet where only women can survive. This female-led planet is part the Wild West, part Amazon jungle, when a girl frees a notorious killer from her impending death, promptly killing the bitches that refused to help her. She and her mother get punished with the task to hunt down this notorious killer called Kate Bush. Yes, Kate Bush. Although running up that hill wasn't made popular again by the time this movie came out. So this hairdressing reclusive mother and naive young daughter combo venture out into the female-run world and see that all isn't so beachy. There's plenty of lesbian loving and feminine talk amidst all the semi-blurry, neon and pastel, the upside-down kind of vibe going on in the planet. This movie is a trip, literally and figuratively. A trip of two people going from point A to B, and we're experiencing it. It won't be for everyone, but it definitely has a style. Check it out if you like weird, pop culture artsy fartsy stuff with women doing their scissor thing. Cause she's a hairdresser, you know. Check that. La Noctelero aka Blood Hunt, which always makes me think about Blood Can't Sue Me, is a 1986 Spanish movie about a doctor arriving at a small village. As we all know, strangers arriving in a small reclusive village usually are greeted quite unfriendly, and even in the doctor's case that's true. He quickly realizes something is off about the town where young assholes are wielding shotguns and hunting rifles and pretty much terrorize some of the populace with their arrogance. The doctor, fueled by an interest towards certain people of the female form, decides to dig in and find out the truth. In a way, Lanuk felt a lot like the syphilis movie I reviewed a while ago called Stigma. Doctor arrives in town, people act weird, stuff happens, violence, and one problem. In Langok, the problem is drug addicts. This isn't a spoiler, it's in the first 3 minutes of the film, but there's more to it, of course. There's action, there's love. It has the normal beats you would expect from a movie like this. It's slow though, and sometimes a chore to go through. All in all, Lanuk doesn't pack enough of a punch to be truly cult classic or weird enough to be a great stranger in a strange town flick. It balances between mediocre and okay, but it never reaches good nor great. Check that.